In the world of Dragon Ball, the Supreme Kais, otherwise known as Kaioshin, serve as the gods of creation, who provide the catalyst for the creation of worlds across the universe, as well as the lives of species that live upon them. Sharing the highest rank of their universal hierarchy with the gods of destruction, the Supreme Kais aren't nearly as imposing in power as their destructive counterparts. However, they still stand head and shoulders above most of the mortals below them. But who among the Kaioshin is the strongest? Who could defeat the others in an all-out battle like we're seeing in the Tournament of Power? Well, in this video, we're going to break that down. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and enable notifications so you can see all of my content right away when it comes out. Alright guys, so today we are going to be discussing who we believe the strongest Supreme Kai is in Dragon Ball Super, and it's really an interesting topic because it's something that I feel like the show hasn't really delved in enough. However, when it comes down to it, this is a world where everyone fights, much of the struggles of the universes come down to power, and when Supreme Kai was originally introduced in the Buu Saga, we were given an estimation of just how powerful he was. So joining me today is someone you've seen on my channel in the past, and once again he has returned to do this video, and his name is...
What's going on guys, MJ here. Thank you for having me back on the channel, Mike. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, so what do you think about this, MJ? First off, do you think that the Supreme Kais are basically in a relative similarity of power between all of them? And if not, you know, which ones do you think might stick out as a little bit stronger in your estimation?
Well, I think first people have to remember that the gods of destruction, they do seem to vary in power. The angels seem to vary in power. Obviously the mortals vary in power. It would make sense that the Kaioshins also follow that same rule, and they most likely vary in power. Plus, if I remember correctly, there's anime filler that shows and dives more into the fight with Kid Buu, and Shin actually was one of the guys who did worse against Buu compared to some of the others.
Well, when he was first introduced, I believe that they stated that Shin was the weakest of the Supreme Kais, and he was actually the least trained. I think he might have even been the youngest of all of them. So it makes a little bit of sense that he would be, you know, weaker than the rest from that perspective. However, I think the only time we see him fighting Buu was when Buu was in his buffed up form, you know, the Ultra Buu as some people like to call him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that guy was going to wreck pretty much everyone except for, I guess, Kaioshin. So it makes a little bit of sense.
So with that logic, the Kaioshins do range in power. It's not just all one set strength, you know?
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's hard to say, even though Shin is a bit weird sometimes and he may be have a screw loose here and there, he is still our Kaioshin, and I wouldn't be surprised, I honestly wouldn't, if he's actually one of the strongest, because much like with Beerus seems to be one of the strongest of the gods of destruction. So I think it would be kind of cool if they actually kind of played that out. But then that comes into question, what about the other Kaioshin and how do they compare? And what about the Dai Kaioshin, like you mentioned? What about him? Like, was he way above these guys if Shin's even stronger than them? Or it's very weird because, like I said, even though Shin's are, you know, Kaioshin, it does seem like he also has a lot of abilities and stuff like that. I'm not trying to say these other guys don't, but there's a lot of these Kaioshins who don't look like the fighting type, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like that one hipster Kai, I believe, from Universe 11. Doesn't really seem like they'd put up much of a fight even against, you know, someone like Shin, who is pretty much the pansy Kaioshin from everything we know. But like Gowasu, for example, you've made an argument in the past that Gowasu might actually be really strong and we kind of underestimate him because he's old and kind of an idiot. What was your argument about that?
Well, we had talked a while back about Zamasu, and Zamasu back then had mentioned that he was gonna go into training to be the Kaioshin, and we kind of discussed that, is Gowasu training this guy? Like, is he training him? Is Zamasu actually like weaker than him? Is he stronger than him? Does Gowasu bring him up to what he is when we see him in episode 52 when he finally confronts Goku? Like, what's going on there? It is mentioned that Zamasu is a prodigy, and of course training with Gowasu to become a Kaioshin may not actually be physical combat training,
yeah,
but it's not too out of the realm to think that maybe at one point in time, Kawasu was most likely stronger. We have seen, like with Goku and King Kai, Kaiosama was at a power level of 3000 according to guides, roughly around there, and then he trains Goku to become even stronger than him. So the idea that maybe at one point in time Kawasu was stronger than Zamasu, but he trained him to become even stronger than him, that's not too out of the realm of a possibility, because we do know that Zamasu likes to train and polish his fighting skills, as mentioned, I believe, in both the anime and the manga, if I remember correctly. So I would not put it past that to be, I guess, a statement to prove that maybe Kawasu is a force to be reckoned with. You know, maybe not as strong as the Kaioshin, or maybe strong enough to fight like a full power Majin Buu, but maybe somewhat still relevant, you know, and most likely could be stronger than Shin. Who knows?
Well, looking at all of the Supreme Kais or Kaioshin next to one another, honestly, like in terms of just physical stature and imposing nature, I would say that the Supreme Kai from Universe 6 is probably the one who looks the most physically powerful. I mean, not only is he like a really big guy, but like, you know, if we're going to say their powers are kind of in the same ballpark as one another, you know, like maybe that imposing physical size would actually give him a chance, because I could just see this guy like body slamming Shin into the ground and he's not going to really get back up. So, you know, when you think about it, it has given me the impression, you know, just from what Shin said in the Buu saga, that there is a possibility that even though, you know, our Universe 7's Beerus, the god of destruction, is arguably one of the most powerful gods of destruction out there, that perhaps Shin might, you know, inversely be one of the weakest Supreme Kais, just because he might even be the least trained of all of them. But it is really funny when you think about it that they've never addressed this, but do the other Supreme Kais have the same kind of system as those from Dragon Ball Z when we're introduced to our own? Because there were the 4 different cardinal direction Supreme Kais, so the East Kai, which is Shin, the North, the South, and the West, and then there was the Dai Kaioshin, the one who was the Grand Supreme Kai, the head of all the Kaios, and he was the most powerful as well, that Buu absorbed, but through his, you know, good nature turned him into Fat Buu and turned him into someone who is kind of like weakened as a result. So, you know, our Kawasu and all of these others that we've been introduced to, are they the Grand Supreme Kais of their universes, or did their universes go through something like Universe 7 where their own Supreme Kais were killed off, save for, say, Kawasu and the others? Do you think that something like that could have happened, MJ, or do you think that what we're seeing now is basically they are the Grand Supreme Kais, more or less?
I mean, people have had the theories that these guys are just the ones who were picked and the ones who came to the Tournament of Power, and there could actually be a whole crop of other Supreme Kais and other Kaioshin like back on the home planet. I'm not too sure. I think at this point that's just something that was retconned. However, there is that idea that these guys have not seen each other in years. If you go by the manga, supposedly the last time they saw each other was like a millennia ago. So it's been a very long time. So it could be possible that they went through something, whether it was natural causes, whether it was a force, an entity that maybe killed off some of the other Supreme Kais, the Dai Kaioshin, the ones who represented the different quadrants and all that stuff, and maybe that's why there's only one. It's hard to say. I'm just gonna go with the latter and say it was retconned.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably it. They probably forgot, because like there are multiple different Toriyama interviews where he gives kind of different origins for them, you know. And then there was one interview where he said if a Supreme Kai were to die, then a fruit would immediately grow so that they could be replaced, you know, because the Supreme Kai or the Shinjin come from fruits of the core tree, I believe it is called, although we've never seen them show up yet, so that fruit must be taking its awful long time to grow. But MJ, okay, let's have it come down to this. We put all of the Supreme Kais, all 12 of them, into a battle royal, all right? Who's going to win that battle royal? Who do you think is going to win out of all 12 of them? Who's going to knock the other 11 out of the ring and stand victorious?
That's a tough question, bro, because at this point we're just going off of looks, because it's like we've only really seen our Kaioshin fight. We know Kawasu, after the years of training that Zamasu went through, can get taken out by one hit from Zamasu. So it's like it's hard to really say who would win, but there is one guy that does look pretty imposing. I want to get your thoughts on this. It's the one with the orange tan skin that has like that mohawk. To me, he looks like someone who can fight. I don't know about you though, but he looks like he can fight somebody, you know. But if I had to put my money on it, it'd probably either be Universe 6, 7, or like I said, that guy with the mohawk. That's the only one I could probably.
Yeah, the only one I would possibly give an edge to, and he's erased from existence now, as pretty much all of these will probably be soon, or at least, you know, all but maybe one of them, and that is Kaioshin from the 9th universe, because that guy is so just over the top evil and just so devious that I could possibly see him trying to figure out a way to weasel his way into winning like a just all out fight between all of them if they just threw him in the ring like we're seeing now in the tournament.
Oh, like be like a heel, right? Conniving and everything like that.
Yeah, he'd be like the Ted DiBiase. He'd try and offer somebody money to jump out of the ring, you know.
I can see that happening. If he plays that conniving role, he can definitely do something along those lines. But if we're going off of looks and I guess who imposes, probably like what we said. Obviously, my money ain't on the guy that looks like Doug, bro. That guy looks like he came out of Doug's universe, but
watch the hipster Kaioshin be the strongest one. When he pushes his glasses and it gives him a million times boost and can just one-shot the others.
My money's on Universe 6, bro. King Kong Bundy, bro.
He's a true heel from the 1980s, and I don't see any Hulk Hogans around here except for maybe that guy with the orange skin. But anyway, guys, I thought this was going to be a really fun video because we may never get to see this actually happen. I don't know if Toriyama will ever write these guys fighting one another, and they may cease to exist for the most part until, you know, possibly some shenanigans happen at the end of this tournament. So, you know, I'm expecting Shin is probably going to walk out here just by default because of the end of Z, but we'll have to see. But let us know your own thoughts down below in the comments of who you think the strongest Supreme Kai is and who you think could probably beat the others in a fight. Of course, check out MJTV in the end screen of this video and the description. And as I always say, stick around because there's a lot more to come in the future.
Yeah, and you better subscribe, enable those damn notifications.